Now that we've created pocketing operations to machine out some of these areas, let's explore another toolpath called Area Mill. Under the 2D group, I'm going to select on the Area Mill toolpath. And this brings up the dialog that we call region chaining. Now, the chaining process is the same, but this is very similar to how we handle dynamic toolpaths, which we'll explore in a later lesson. We described this a little earlier, but the way this works is that instead of selecting just geometry that you want to machine, you can select geometry you want to machine and also geometry you want to avoid. So as an example, I'm going to choose a machining region right here. And like before, when using the partial loop, I'm going to select this geometry right here, and the end result being right here. So once I click OK, you'll see that that is our machining region. Now I want to stay inside, but we can also click on the Preview Chains option. We see this, which looks like a traditional pocket. However, if we say from outside and we hit Preview Chains, you'll notice that it actually treats this open area as what we might want to call an air region. What that means is the tool can freely move in and out of this area. So this is looking more and more like something that we'd like to use. So let's click OK. And then in our Area Mill parameters, we're going to go to the tool and pick a tool. Let's choose tool number 10 again. And for the comment, we're going to call it Area Mill. Now under the cut parameters, let's make the stock to leave on floors set to 0. However, we're going to leave 50 thousandths on the wall because we're going to come back and clean it up there with a smaller tool. Under depth cuts, let's go in here and turn this on, and we'll make sure the depth cuts are set to 1/4 inch, and at this time we'll do 0 finish cuts. Now this is an interesting option to look at here, depth cut order, by region or by depth. What we're going to be doing after this is actually adding this area to also machine using the same toolpath, which means we would have multiple regions. So with depth cut order set to by region, it'll rough all of this out and then rough all of this out. If we had it set to by depth, it would do one depth cut over here and then one over here, and then back and do another depth cut here, and we'd have a lot of back and forth motion, which is probably not desired, but regardless, that's an option. Under linking parameters, let's set our clearance option to 0.5 again, above our part. And under retract, let's set that to incremental. What this will do is instead of retracting every time to 0.25 above 0, it's going to retract relative to where it is with the feed plane. And for the top of stock, let's go in here and select this as our top of stock value. And again, so that's assuming there's no material up here. So depending on the scenario you have, you might want to adjust that. Let's click OK and look at this toolpath. So what happens here is the toolpath comes in from the outside, removes material. Now what we haven't explored yet is our backplot. And we have a whole lesson on simulation, but for now, a simple way of looking at the motion of the toolpath is simply to click on the toolpath option at the bottom here. What this will do is show you your tool and your holder, and you have a bunch of play buttons up here, including stop and rewind. And if you hold down the letter S, you will step through your toolpath. You could also hit play, and it would animate the toolpath. This is going to a certain depth, as you can see, and then it goes down to the next depth. And when you're done, you can simply click OK, and the tool disappears. So let's go back in and add this geometry to that existing toolpath. So I'm going to click on Geometry and click on Machining Region, and we'll add another chain. We're going to start right here. And we're going to end right here. So now 2 chains are selected. And let's hit regen. So as you can see, we have an entry into the part from the outside here, and the same thing over here. We enter from the outside. Now, if you remember, we are staying away from the wall by a few thousandths. So I'm going to take this toolpath, right-click, and copy it. And let's explore this new option called remachining. So if we go into the parameters, you'll notice that we have an option here called stock. And remachining, also known as rest material, allows us to go back and remove material that a previous toolpath missed. So let's go into the tool and choose a smaller toolpath. In this case, we'll choose a 5/16 flat end mill. We'll call this an area mill rest. And back on the stock setting here, I'm going to turn on rest material. And then I can specifically tell it to either compute the remaining stock from all previous operations or from a specific operation. I'm going to choose one other operation and scroll down to this area mill 1, which is toolpath number 5, which you can see was right above what we just created. And one more thing we want to do, if you recall, we copied this toolpath. So let's go into our cut parameters and remove the fact that we left 50 thousandths on the wall from before. So we click OK, and then we'll recalculate this toolpath. And now you can see that we have a lot of motion cleaning up this area here, which looks real good. Now, we might have not identified this earlier, but if you go back to the previous toolpath, that previous toolpath couldn't even fit into this area. So it's pretty good that we were now able to use remachining to machine out the areas that the previous toolpath missed. So in this lesson, we created a contour toolpath and then copied it. We also looked at the pocketing toolpaths and open pockets. Then we finished the part by working with the area mill toolpath and remachining, also known as rest milling.